good movie, all part of our action team coverage of the terror in Oklahoma City. And a close call for the daughter of Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino. 6 Action News is next.
Now, 6 Action News, taking action to bring you a more balanced view of South Florida.
Fact meets fiction in a brand new movie that's stirring strong emotions about the Oklahoma bombing. Why did a dog get a standing ovation? You'll meet South Florida's latest hero and a new improved form of liposuction right here in South Florida. Some of our stories right now on 6 Action News. Good evening, I'm Stan Miller.
And I'm Barbara Sloan. 118 dead, and that number is rising in the bombed-out ruins of the Oklahoma City Federal Building. But tonight, this Arizona license tag could be the break investigators needed. They say John Doe number 2, their missing suspect, might be driving a car with that tag.
And tonight, through police dispatch tapes, we're getting new insight into the terror felt moments after the explosion.
20. We just had some kind of explosion downtown.
Within minutes, a Wednesday morning in downtown Oklahoma City became a nightmare of destruction. The tapes of the police radio transmissions tell the story.
We have got a lot of children right over here at the YMCA also. Go ahead. So we need fire personnel with equipment to the southeast corner of the Federal Building. We got people stranded on the second floor jumping out windows, and we got the child daycare center somewhere up here. We need ladders and firemen over here quick.
More than 9 days later, rescue workers are still digging, and they may still be at it a week from now. But the number of searchers is being downscaled as they clear more and more of the building.
We are very concerned about the weather. The weather calls for severe thunderstorms to move in today and tomorrow. As those of you in Oklahoma know, that usually means high winds, lightning.
Timothy McVeigh remains the only person charged with the crime, and he will stand trial. The mystery suspect, known as John Doe number 2, is still out there somewhere. But there's a new clue, an Arizona license plate registered to McVeigh. It was missing from the Mercury Marquis McVeigh was driving when he was arrested. A source says a videotape shows that same plate on another vehicle at the bomb site before the explosion. 9 days after the bombing in Oklahoma City, Action News went back to the Federal Building in downtown Miami to see if it's still in a heightened state of alert. And what we found was that no one's letting down their guard. Parking around the federal courthouse is still prohibited. At the U.S. Attorney's Office, the door to an employee's parking garage now stays shut full-time. And at the Claude Pepper Building, law enforcement vehicles now take up spaces up front to keep potentially dangerous vehicles away.
The Oklahoma bombing has also had an effect on Hollywood. Several TV shows have revised their scripts to delete mentions of the bombings. But a movie that opened in South Florida tonight was already released when the bombing happened. Eerie coincidences and all. 6 Action News is live on the scene at a Coral Gables movie theater with reporter Lisette Campos. Lisette?
Barbara, we are talking about the 7th movie starring Chuck Norris. The movie is produced by his brother Aaron. The name of the movie is Top Dog. It's about an hour and 30 minutes long, but the first 5 seconds is making a lot of people pretty uncomfortable.
The movie was stunning. Great.
I think a lot of people are going to maybe stay away from it.
If you're wondering if these people are talking about the same movie, the answer is yes. It seems the new Chuck Norris film is raising a few eyebrows in the wake of the Oklahoma City bombing. Top Dog opens with this. It's a terrorist bombing of a building on April 20th, one day after the real-life bombing that's killed 118 people so far. Movie producers selected April 20th because it's Adolf Hitler's birthday, and the neo-Nazi characters in the plot commemorate the date with a bomb.
The bombing scenes were a little bit disturbing at first, especially with everything that has occurred with Oklahoma.
Caused a little flashback on what's been happening. It's like a little bit too close to home, I guess.
But kids watching the movie on opening night seemed oblivious to all the controversy. They thought it was funny, cute, lovable, like Reno, the French Briard in the movie. Oklahoma, April 19th, didn't even cross their mind.
The movie's for kids. It's Top Dog. They don't understand any of that, so no.
It's this kind of stuff that grabs kids' attention. A policeman that does all the work, and a police dog that gets all the credit.
Man, that dog is some kind of hero, you know that?
Now, during the past several days since the bombing occurred, some movie critics were saying that maybe the producers of this film should change the date of that bombing. However, the people that we spoke to tonight said that it made them a little uncomfortable, but they didn't think it had to be changed. They didn't think that the movie producers had to go back to the drawing board. Reporting live in Miami, I'm Lisette Campo, 6 Action News.
Thanks, Lisette. The Oklahoma bombing forced the popular soap opera All My Children to change its plot line, and one network to pull its movie about the Waco siege. And next week, the producers of Melrose Place will decide whether to proceed with the season-ending cliffhanger involving a bombing.
2 of Metro Dade's contributions to the Oklahoma City rescue effort returned home today to a hero's welcome. Metro firefighter Skip Fernandez and search dog Aspen were greeted with a standing ovation today as they flew back from a long week of rescue efforts. And even with all the death and destruction Skip saw, he is still holding out some hope.
I'm still hoping it's not over with yet. Right now, this moment, there are firefighters digging through that rubble. They have not given up hope. And the people, as long as they're supporting them in Oklahoma, they're not going to give up hope.
Fernandez is a major in the Marine Corps Reserves and was replaced in Oklahoma City so he could fly to San Francisco to receive the Marine Corps Officer of the Year award. And Aspen, well, for her hard work, she got to sit in the seat right next to Skip on the flight back. Well, there have been a lot of heroes in the past 9 days and several villains, too. Here's a recap of today's developments. It's hoped that this Arizona license tag belonging to suspect Timothy McVeigh will lead to the mysterious John Doe number 2. Police dispatch tapes told of people jumping out windows and the fear of not knowing what happened to the children in the daycare center. Tonight, the death toll stands at 118. Bad weather hindered today's salvage effort, but once the weather clears, the death toll will surely climb higher.
A lot of people were shocked by the images of puppies buried alive by their owner, and a lot of people said the man who did it ought to go to jail. Well, he will. Robert Hummergus was sentenced to 4 months behind bars today after 3 of the 9 Rottweiler pups he buried died. You recall how the mother dog Sheba came to the puppies' rescue. Hummergus said he buried them because he could not care for them. The 6 survivors and Mother Sheba all have new homes now. Well, you've seen his sketches from the O.J. Simpson trial, but until today, you probably never heard Bill Robles' name. Robles, whose sketches of the jury are seen nightly on CBS, took center stage today after Judge Lance Ito declared his drawings show a little too much of the jurors' faces. From now on, all sketch artists will have to clear their works with a judge or a court spokeswoman. And in another development, a man set to testify about alleged racist behavior by Detective Mark Furman today said he wants no part of the trial. Phil Coleman says he doesn't want to be savaged on the stand.
We've all heard the warnings about wearing seat belts and strapping our kids into child safety seats. Those warnings may have saved the life of Dan Marino's 3-year-old daughter. Alexandria Marino was riding in a car which flipped this morning on I-75. Because she was strapped in, she suffered only minor cuts, as did the driver, Yolanda Andrade. Quite a relief for the Marinos, no doubt about that.
They work. They do work. Remember the group behind the Patty Hearst kidnapping?
Could there be a link between the Symbionese Liberation Army and the mysterious Unabomber?
Cell phones and pacemakers. Why some doctors say they're a dangerous combination. And there's more.
I'm Marilyn Estevez. Will the city of Miami Beach okay a multi-million-dollar convention center hotel on this site? I'll have that story coming up.
Potential leads as the feds trail the so-called Unabomber.
That story tops tonight's World Watch. In cryptic letters, the Unabomber claims he tests his bombs in the mountains of California. And KCBS in Los Angeles is reporting there may be a link to James Kilgore, a member of the Symbionese Liberation Army. That was a radical group from the 70s that built bombs, robbed banks, and kidnapped heiress Patricia Hearst. Kilgore hasn't been seen since 1976. The mail bombs began 2 years later. But the feds will only say Kilgore is a potential suspect.
A powerful underground gas explosion in South Korea killed at least 103 people, including dozens of children. Police say the blast was sparked by a gas leak near a subway construction site. Several buildings were gutted and about 100 cars and buses were engulfed in flames.
The wives of the 2 Americans jailed in Iraq are one step closer to seeing their husbands. Kathy Delaberti, who's from Jacksonville, and Linda Barloon are in Jordan to pick up their visas. They should reach Iraq this weekend. Their husbands were arrested last month for crossing the border into Iraq. Hard to believe, but this weekend marks the 20th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. For Vietnam vets, the memories are as fresh as they were back in 1975 when Americans began pulling out and Saigon fell to the communist North Vietnamese. 58,000 Americans were killed in the war, and today, vets who made it out alive here in South Florida and around the country shed a tear for the friends and fellow soldiers they lost.
In a time when Miami Beach is sorely in need of an infusion of tourism dollars, hope may be on the horizon. A multi-million-dollar hotel project is expected to draw big business to the convention center, and that's bringing big smiles to city leaders. Reporter Marilyn Estevez has the story.
Trendy Miami Beach hosts to thousands of tourists every year, but while the tourists keep coming, there aren't enough hotel rooms to accommodate them.
The hotel that we stayed at was woefully inadequate, although it's just been renovated.
Relief may be in sight. Today, the Miami Beach Commission and the city's redevelopment agency took a look at the final plan for a Lowe's hotel to be built here on 16th and Collins Avenue.
They'll have a week or so to study that opportunity, take a look at the numbers, validate them in their own minds.
At the center of the 16-story, 800-room hotel, complete with parking, will be the existing St. Moritz. Developers plan to renovate the hotel and build additions on the right and left. So when will folks know if this mega hotel gets the commission's okay?
If approved on Wednesday, to go ahead and start booking business. Also go ahead and start the design development phase of the hotel.
The biggest reason the city needs a major hotel is that the $1 million convention center isn't pulling enough business.
We are not able to get first-class conventions here because our hotel rooms are not sufficient.
Getting the hotel won't be cheap. The city is putting $50 million into the project.
This is not a gift or a grant. This is an investment. We have proposals to get the money back. They will be paying rent.
Some have doubts.
Unless things work out super well, the city gets the minimum rent. And that's $500,000 a year for the duration for an investment by the city of $50 million. That's about 1%.
Some locals agree.
It's a lot of the taxpayers' money, and it can go for a lot better causes.
Marilyn Estevez, 6 Action News.
Imagine a pill that fights fat.
That's what a cardiologist claims, and that pill is already on your druggist shelf.
And it's out with the old and in with the new. When it comes to liposuction, you'll see what advances are being made next.
And my Earthwatch takes a look out west, and I'll have my forecast for your weekend, all coming up right here on 6 Action News. Your winning lottery numbers tonight, Fantasy 5s are 1, 2, 6, 21, and 26. The cash 3 numbers are 8, 9, and 6. Play 4, 5, 2, 8, and 7. Do you think we've seen a lot of rain in South Florida? Take a look at this bird's eye view of the Iowa River in eastern Iowa. It's expected to crest at 2 feet above flood level tonight. No homes are threatened so far. Let's hope it stays that way. Now for us in South Florida, 76 degrees in Lauderdale right now, Miami 75, the beach is 77, Kendall 72, Key West is 75. Winds are currently out of the northeast at 7, relative humidity 87%, the barometer 29.85. That's kind of low, but it's going up. Look at all this mess. We are not out of the rainfall yet. Still more showers. This looks worse than it is. All the blue indicates light showers. These are all moving out of our picture for the most part. Now, we're going to take you for just a little bit of an Earthwatch journey out into these clouds over the western states, and then we'll take a look at South Florida a little closer. Flying right into West Texas here, we'll start to pick up some showers when we get up to around Denver, and then stretching from Denver all the way up to Duluth, Minnesota, and across to Chicago with just light showers. Then we'll pull on back, take a look at South Florida for you. Not much in between the northern part of the state and Georgia, but down here, socked in with subtropical moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico, impulses in the middle and upper levels, and that continues to bring showers all over the southern half of the peninsula. And here you can see it stretching all the way back out across the Gulf into the Atlantic. The low is offshore, but there's that moisture in the upper, middle, and lower levels of the atmosphere. Across the nation, snow, 2 to 3 inches of snow at Yellowstone, Wyoming. By the way, in South Florida, 1.5 inches of rain fell at Coral Springs, and about 1 inch for the folks down in Key West. But there were unofficial reports of just a little bit under 4 inches in some neighborhoods. Tomorrow, here's the way it looks across the nation. Sunshine moving toward the west coast. We're going to keep showers down here. Didn't even put them on there. Getting a little tired of seeing them, actually. Scattered showers around the middle of the nation. There will be some snow showers around the Rockies, and rainfall coming into the northwest from northern California into Washington State. Now, here's a look at our local forecast for you. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to see some showers, the low about 72 degrees. And then in the afternoon, we'll see on and off rain. Not going to get out of it just yet, 84 degrees. And for boaters, winds will be northeast of 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet. Bay waters a light chop. Solar watch number is an 8 for tomorrow, so just use your solar protection
whatever you've got. Sunday, I should say, I'm trying to get some sun in there. Early in the day, we'll see some showers, but then it should clear up in the afternoon. Just a sprinkle or two on Monday, driest weather Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and not much change in temperatures. Maybe a smidge cooler, but that's about it.
Okay. Where are we at on rainfall right now?
We're a little above normal, about 1 inch above normal.
Okay.
Which, that's official. In my neighborhood, 4 inches above normal.
Thank you, Sheriff. And honored today for a Channel 6 visionary, the founder of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, WCIX meteorologist Bob Soper. Yeah, that's right, that's you, Bob. You emceed the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Awards this morning. And Nellie Rubio, Community Affairs Director for Channel 6, received this prestigious award in the individual category for establishing Neighbors Helping Neighbors after Hurricane Andrew.
Congratulations, Nellie. And Neighbors Helping Neighbors invites you to join the Interfaith Coalition in Crosswalk. Call phone bank operators at 930-WCIX to sign up for the 3-mile walk on Sunday, May 7th. Sure, Bob will have good weather for that, which starts at 5 p.m. at the Biltmore Hotel. Proceeds go to fight hunger worldwide and right here in South Florida. Call 930-WCIX right now.
It's not cheap and it's not risk-free.
But a new way of fighting fat is gaining popularity in South Florida. The new liposuction, plus your winning lottery numbers. Next. Topping Health Watch, new hope for dieters who've tried it all but are still losing the battle of the bulge. There's a new pill on the market that's supposed to block the fat. Sounds too good to be true, but the inventor stands by his claims. Now, it's not a drug or a diet pill. These fat blocker pills are made of fiber and are sold under the name Sequester. But it's only supposed to block some of the fat you take in, not all of it. Of course, some would be better than none. We checked and found the Sequester fat blockers are available in some South Florida drugstores.
But for those of you who can't wait to take the fat off, this story is for you. There's a fairly new method of liposuction that's simpler and much less painful. And as 6 Action News reporter John Dutzman tells us, it's being performed right here in South Florida.
This woman recently underwent a new and improved liposuction procedure. That's when doctors suck unwanted fat out of your body. In traditional liposuction, doctors use a metal probe and suck it out with kind of a fat-sucking vacuum cleaner. The new technique is called the tumescent technique. Smaller probes are used, and many times doctors just use a syringe to suck the fat out. Dr. Alan Sarour has been practicing the technique locally. He tells us the key ingredient to the new procedure is the fluid that's injected in the tissue before the fat is sucked out.
We would inject large volumes of liquid, which is a dilute solution of local anesthetic. That would swell the tissues.
So your area gets bigger?
The area would get bigger. And after that solution sits for a small amount of time, letting the local anesthetic take effect, we would extract the fat that we wanted to extract.
We're told the technique achieves the same results as this traditional liposuction with less blood loss. And many times it can be done in the doctor's office.
It can be done with light sedation.
Like any surgical procedure, all liposuction does have some risks. And it can cost you anywhere between $2,000 and $6,000. Since it's cosmetic surgery, it will not be covered by insurance. By the way, it's not just women who are into this. Men like me concerned about a growing gut can have fat sucked out.
If the fat is outside of the abdominal muscular wall here and love handles, it can be removed with liposuction. Up here, we've got a tight skin over the muscle, what you'd call almost kind of a beer belly in a male, and this cannot be suctioned. There's not that much fat here.
If they did me, they'd need a bigger jar. John Dutzman, 6 Action News.
Oh, I want to say something, don't you?
Oh, those love handles.
If you're one of the thousands of Americans wearing a pacemaker, here's something you want to phone home about, but don't use a cell phone. Some types of cell phones have been found to interrupt the pacemaker's firing mechanism, making the device either pace too fast or too slow. Apparently the problem is with the antenna. You don't really need to give up cell phones altogether, just be careful.
The only way that any interference could happen is the cellular telephone is held in very close proximity to the pacemaker side, underneath the collarbone.
Dr. Carrillo says more studies need to be done, and if you're concerned about cell phones and your pacemaker, call your doctor.
Well, if you're outdoors a lot, we have a health warning for you. Health officials are urging folks in South Florida to be on the lookout for rodents and stay away from them, especially when working outdoors and camping. This comes on the heels of an investigation into a case of hantavirus here in South Florida. The study found a unique strain of the disease called Black Creek Canal virus. It's rarely found in humans, but as a precaution, you should avoid breathing any dust in areas where rats might be, and I try to do that all the time. After 3 years of hard work, actor Gene Wilder has finished a memorial of sorts for his late wife, comedian Gilda Radner, who died of ovarian cancer. It's called Gilda's Club, and it's located in Manhattan, New York. When it opens in June, Gilda's Place will be a spot where people suffering from cancer can get together free of charge to talk about what they're going through. Sounds like a pretty neat idea, doesn't it?
It does. Well, the joys and pain of college graduation through the eyes of some local students.
And the season's just 3 games old, but a Marlins millionaire might be hurt again. Details straight ahead. Nearly 300 African-American students will be graduating from Florida International University this spring, and tonight many took part in an African rights ceremony to mark their graduation. The Akili Rites of Passage ceremony took place at FIU's University Park campus this evening. The ceremony included the Path to Graduation, which is a presentation on both the joys and pains of college life.
A lot of pains of college life. You remember any joys?
Yeah, graduation.
Graduating, yeah,
Friday
getting
night.
out.
Things like that. A couple of pains with the Marlins we'll get to in a minute. But it's April, so we must be talking football, right? Don Shula's annual mini camp. You know, the veterans hate this stuff, but it's the coach's chance to get a sneak preview of his team. And as Mike Oxley reports, there'll be high expectations for an improved defense.
If this year's starting defensive unit looks familiar, that's because it is. The Dolphins returned all 11 starters from last year. Pretty impressive considering the free agent market. In fact, the Dolphins got better with 2 free agent deals of their own. Number 93 defensive end Trace Armstrong, a 6-year starter for the Bears. He adds an upfield push to a defensive line that is always looking for help pressuring the QB.
You know, right now, I know the Dolphins have 2 good defensive ends, and it's just going to be a matter of see how I blend in and how the coaches want to use me. I've been real impressed. I think this team has great chemistry, and you know, that's important if you want to win late in the year.
And Terrell Buckley, former Seminole and first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers. He brings not only his defensive back skills to Miami, but also his punt and kickoff returning abilities.
I'm out here to compete, and if I end up backing up or coming off the bench, then that'll suit me fine, because I know I gave 110%.
So there's a new term you can use this year when describing the Dolphin defense, and that's depth. And that's something we haven't been able to say around here in quite a while. In Davie with the Dolphins, I'm Mike Oxley, 6 Action Sports.
Dolphins signed 7 free agents this afternoon, including running back Brent Moss out of Wisconsin. Moss went undrafted last week because of a history of drug problems while in Wisconsin, something Moss wants to put behind him for good.
I have been through some troubles, and the past was hectic for me, and I'm glad that Don Shula and Miami Dolphins staff gave me a shot to play in the NFL, and I'm just trying to make the most of it out here.
The Marlins traveled to San Francisco and left their bats in Florida. Got to be a girl, pretty in pink. All right, the game. Giants go with emergency starter Mark Leiter. He tosses 6 shutout innings. Florida only 2 hits. Bad news for the Marlins, trailing 1-0, 8th inning. Brian Harvey to Glenn Allen Hill. Any doubt about that? Home run. Giants win 4-0. Harvey took himself out of the game. Sore elbow. He'll return to South Florida for an MRI, and that will quiet the trade rumors. The Panthers started tonight as a long shot for the playoffs. After losing to the Devils in New Jersey, the odds are now about impossible to 1. Florida plays come from behind hockey. Strudlin to Mellenby beats Brodeur on the short side. Game tied 1-1 second period. Third period, most critical of the year, blast from Randy McKay. Off the post. Beezer can't find it. Right there, Beezer to your right. Bobby Holik scores 2-1 Devils. The clincher, Claude Lemieux on the break. This is a great move. Great move. Skates left, shoots right. Devils win 3-1. They're in the playoffs. The Panthers 4 points out with 3 to play. Playoff time in the NBA. Matchup of the night, Bulls at Charlotte. Would you be surprised if I told you Michael Jordan stole the show? No. Jordan's first playoff appearance since 1993. He gets 22 in the first half. Game goes to overtime. Yep, Charlotte couldn't stop him. Jordan gets 10 points in the OT. He finishes with 48. The Bulls win 108-100 in OT. They take game 1. A real sleeper in Orlando tonight. Magic and the Celtics Penny Hardaway, uncontested layup. Where's the defense? Nowhere in sight for the Celtics. Magic's Nick Anderson in the open court. Showtime, 20 points for Anderson. Magic roll 124-77. And coming up on Sunday, we'll have Sports Sunday. Our special guest, Dave Wolf. Our Schmooze at Shoots, plus Hank Goldberg will be with us.
Dave Wolf says there's going to be some big changes.
Yeah, he's got to change that team around. They didn't play very hard this year.
Hatchet's going to fall. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Joe. The Late Show with David Letterman's coming right up.
Plus, one more look at Bob Soper's Earth Watch. Hoping the weather will hold up for your weekend plans?
Yes. Let's make one final check on what we can expect with Bob Soper's Earth Watch.
Well, Barb, Earth Watch doesn't like Saturday too much, but it does like Sunday. Here's the way to look for you when you wake up in the morning. It'll be rainy with a low of about 72 degrees. Then, during your lunch break, showers, it'll be around 80. Then, for your afternoon, heading home, or just coming in, it'll be off and on rain. High of 84. Sunday looks drier. Hang in there, folks. Back to you, Stan and Barb.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good weekend, anyway, everybody. That's going to do it for the late edition of Action News.
Late Show with David Letterman is coming up next.